Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told how to voice the radio, so today we need to take a little bit of a look at something we do moderately often, and hey, it's the new year, seems like a good time to have a little bit of a look, about basically which set you should be focusing on and which set is most deserving of your hard-earned money. Because as lovely an idea as it is, most of us do not have infinite money, so we do have to make decisions about which sets we're actually focusing on, which ones we're going to be collecting, and which ones we're going to hang back off on a little bit. So what we're going to be talking about today, the sets we're going to be comparing, are the most recent one that actually came out, that actually made it onto shelves, that being Sword and Shield 12 Silver Tempest, the final Sword and Shield set. The upcoming Crown Zenith, which is going to be available later this month, which is not a main set per se. It is a special set, or a mini set, or phrase it how you will, outside of the usual 4 sets a year stuff. And then Scarlet and Violet, although I admit, and I'll say this right at the beginning so there's no confusion, no, we do not have perfect information about Scarlet and Violet as it stands at the moment, and actually we don't have perfect information about Crown Zenith, but we're all still making decisions as to what we're pre-ordering and what we're going for, so please bear in mind the information here isn't perfect, but it is, I think, still a discussion worth having. Now, the set about which we do have perfect information is Sword and Shield 12 Silver Tempest. And one of the things to point out right at the beginning with Silver Tempest is you've got the money card. You've got that Lugia. And to be fair, it's not just that Lugia. Lugia as a whole is great. It is the best deck in the game right now by a little bit of a margin. Whether it remains out when Sword and Shield drops, it is something to discuss. There is a decent chance that it does get hit. Well, I mean, it does get hit by the rotation. But I mean, there's a decent chance that the rotation hits it so hard it really drops off drastically. But even if it does get hit by the rotation so hard that it does drop off very drastically, it's still going to have Lugia in it. And that Lugia V is still going to be one of the most expensive cards in the entire game. So that alone is pretty gosh darn good. And honestly, pretty gosh darn worth it. But what about outside of that? Well, from a playability standpoint, this was a set that basically gave us Lugia. And sure, things like Alolan Vulpix are pretty good in seeing a bit of play. And, you know, you've got Regieleki V Max, which could well end up being good with Lightning decks moving forward. And I thought Regidrago was going to be amazing. I've been proven not right about that as it stands at the moment. And there's stuff like Forest Seal Stone, which is a great tool card. Lets you search for any card as a V-Star power on any Pokemon V. But then that's going to be a very cheap card. Playability-wise, Silver Tempest introduced Lugia and a few other things, but it wasn't a stunning game-breaking set like some others we've seen. And then if we look at it in terms of cards that are valuable, cards that you're going to be, you know, very, very delighted to actually be pulling, it's fine. It's not great. I mean, the Lugia's the big one, don't get me wrong. The Lugia is a big card. You've then got Serena, but I've made this point before, you want the Japanese version of Serena, not the English. It's worth way more. Is it worth mentioning again that I pulled the Japanese version? I got very lucky last year with some Japanese sets. I am very aware of this. And the Unknown is a card that's worth getting, the alternate art. These are both in a range of like $50. They're fine, but these aren't kind of like the huge cards we've seen in the past. They're okay. And I think that kind of sums up Silver Tempest as a set. Silver Tempest is okay. Remember, the trainer gallery exists in Silver Tempest, and of the 3 cards of the 3 sets we're talking about, it's the only one with a traditional trainer gallery in the sense you would generally think. But it's only the alternate art Rayquaza, which is actually worth more than like $20. It's like a $45 card. Everything else is significantly cheaper. I mean, the second most expensive card in the set is Friends in Gala, which is like a $20 card, and then Superior is like a $15 card, and that's basically it. That's what we've got. In terms of, like, the big headline cards, you've got the Lugia, and you've got a few $50 cards, well, they're kind of like free, and then you've got a few other things in the Trainer Gallery, and it's got the hits you would expect from the Trainer Gallery. You've got that extra thing there, and I'm a big fan of the Trainer Gallery generally in sets, because you've got that extra chance to get some hits. But Silver Tempest, I don't think is the best of the Year 3 Sword and Shield sets, the one that's had the Trainer Gallery. I think it's fine as a set, but I don't think it's one of those sets you absolutely have to have. Now, Crown Zenith, I have told you several times, could end up being the best set ever, and I mean this incidentally. If you are a collector, if your main focus is on collecting and getting a cool collection of cards going, then I think probably the answer is going to be Crown Zenith. Because we know there is a lot of extremely cool stuff coming in Crown Zenith. Now, we've not had the full reveal of this set, let's be clear. But we do know that it's largely going to be the fancy, shiny stuff from Japan's V-Star universe, and then just a bunch of cool, shiny stuff to go along with it. So basically, a bunch of stuff that Japan has had that we haven't, combined with the really cool stuff that Japan got. And we've already seen so many of these amazing cards over in Japan, and we've seen that a bunch of them are coming over here, and it looks like they're going on. We've seen that, this amazing Greedent is coming. I love that. We know that the artwork rares are coming. Things like the Bibarel, which I think is very much one of the best among them. But we've also got and we know some, we haven't had them all confirmed, but I'm willing to bet they're all coming. We know that the special art rares are coming. We know that there's going to be things like the amazing Suicune that everybody loves, rightly so. Those trainer cards like Adamant and Irida, which are just absolutely stunning. These things are going to be coming around. But it's not a great set in terms of playability. It's not going to move the format forward a huge amount. Now, that's not to say there's nothing. There is a brand new Regigigas in the set that I am personally very, very excited about. Will it be good? I don't know, probably not, but I want it anyway. And, Hatterene V Max is finally getting a card after what seems like a very long time of being the only Gigantamax form Pokemon that didn't have its own card, and that's lovely. But I think it's also fair to say that the new cards are kind of few and far between. Is anybody getting really excited about Simisear V-Star? Maybe they are. I mean, what I will say is, Radiant Eternatus, that's the one where when you bench it, you can then bench 2 V-Maxes from your deck. That is definitely going to shake things up. But what we're going to see a lot of this is filler stuff that they've had in Japan. And I don't say filler as a negative, incidentally. I say filler as Japan have had it. We haven't. It's filling up our set, but it's cool stuff that you want in your collection. Most of it is not playability-wise going to be that amazing. That doesn't mean none of it, but it means a lot of it. But Crown Zenith, I think it's fair to say, is a set for collectors. It is a set for people that want to collect those artwork rares, for people that want to collect those special art rares. Those are the kind of people who should be getting very, very excited about Crown Zenith. And I'm someone who loves playing the game, and I'm someone who loves watching the game and commentating the game and following the format very closely, as I'm sure by now you'll all know. So for me, Crown Zenith, that's not why I'm looking forward to it. Although I do think cards like Regigigas and especially Eternatus could end up being kind of cool. What I'm excited about is as a collector, and all these awesome art rares and special art rares that are going to be coming. That, for me, is what's going to be looking really, really cool about this particular set. Now, it is worth noting that over in Japan, you had booster boxes of V-Star Universe and you had guaranteed pull rates. Every box would get you a Radiant Pokemon, for instance, and every box would get you a special art rare and a super rare. That's not what we've got here. Remember, Crown Zenith, you can't actually buy booster packs or booster boxes of Crown Zenith. It's being released in waves. I did a pre-order guide maybe yesterday, maybe a few days ago, depends on when this goes up, but I've done a pre-order guide for Crown Zenith. Check it out. I basically go over all the products you can get. But you can't just go and buy packs. Incidentally, if you find a shop that is selling packs, all they've done is they've opened up products and are selling the packs separately. Just buying packs or booster boxes of Crown Zenith doesn't exist. But there are a bunch of cool products and a bunch of extremely cool promos. So honestly, that's something that I would be getting moderately excited about. So that's kind of cool. As far as I'm concerned, there is, more so than a lot of the time when I do these videos, I do believe there is a nice clear answer for collectors For collectors, I think it's Crown Zenith. There are so many amazing cards of varying descriptions that are going to be found in Crown Zenith that if your focus is as a collector, I think that really is your answer. So what about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet? Well, we're still missing a lot of information here. There are some assumptions we can make. We assume that VMAXs and V-Stars are gone. We assume that Radiant Pokemon are gone. We know that Pokemon EX are back. So we've seen Koraidon and Miraidon EX. And admittedly, a lot of the ones we've seen so far are looking a bit meh. But not all of them. Gardevoir looks absolutely amazing. I am actually really excited about Great Tusk, although I know a lot of people aren't, and that's perfectly okay. For me, I think it's really cool. It is a card I'm really excited about, but I understand not everybody is, and that's absolutely fine. But Gardevoir's looking amazing, and Miraidon, I think, is looking like an extremely cool card about which we can get pretty gosh darned excited, not to mention, yellow borders are gone, yay! But there are a few other things we know about this set. This is a base set, which means it is, in a lot of ways, going to be quite similar to Sword and Shield. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same set as Sword and Shield. What I mean is it is going to bring us an awful lot of staples, because in a couple of years' time, we're going to be rotating to Scarlet and Violet base set onwards. That's what the rotation is going to be in a couple of years. So what this set is intended to do, in the same way that Sword and Shield did and all the other block starters before it, it's going to be a set that introduces a bunch of important things. Like we've already seen, that we are getting Professor's Research with both Sada and Turo. That's a very important card. That's a card that sees a lot of play. We know that a reprint of Ultra Ball is going to be coming. That's pretty important. We know that Beach Court, which is really just a reprint of Sky Arrow Bridge, is going to be coming. And that's the thing that's going to be really good moving forward. It's going to bring in an awful lot of staples. And honestly, while we're here, for players, I think this might end up being the best one. I think this might end up being the set. Now, we don't really have enough information about the set to say certainly one way or another right now, but the base sets always end up being really good for players in terms of introducing important cards and really setting us up moving forward. Now, in terms of fancy stuff, I don't really know what we're getting. Now, we do know that there are going to be terrestrial Pokemon. We've seen Arcanine EX. Although we haven't actually seen it yet, we know there's going to be a Gyarados because it's on one of the English booster packs. So we haven't seen it, but we know there's a Water Terra-type Gyarados coming as an EX. That's confirmed at this point. So we know there's some of those coming. We don't know what else is coming. We don't know what the secret rares look like. If anybody's interested, come back to this channel on Thursday the 19th of January. That's 2.5 weeks' time. And I will tell you then what it looks like, because we'll have the secret rares. I'll be able to, on that day, I will be able to show you all the secret rares from Scarlet and Violet, which is lovely. But we don't know what's going on in terms of full arts, rainbow rare, gold cards, alternate arts, etc. We don't know. I'm hoping alternate arts stay and rainbow rares go away, honestly. That would be amazing. But we don't know one way or the other at the moment. I can't tell you what the deal is going to be in terms of money cards or anything like that, because we've not seen them over in Japan. The set is coming out in English at the end of March. It's coming out in Japanese in 2.5 weeks. And that's when we're really going to have, the big information at that point. But I do think this is a set worth thinking about and a set worth waiting for, because the reality is we are probably going to get to a stage. I mean, go back and look at the base set Sword and Shield. Look how many of those cards have seen consistent play for the past 3 years. That is what I expect to see from the Scarlet and Violet base set. And I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I am saying we've seen years and years of examples. So I think more than most of the time when I make these videos, and this is a series I've been doing for a little while now, I think I can give you a pretty definitive answer. For collectors, I think Crown Zenith is going to be the set you've been dreaming of for a little while. I think collectors, Crown Zenith is the way to go. For players, I think there is a very, very strong argument that you should be focusing on Scarlet and Violet, because that is going to be a set which introduces a lot of new and exciting staples into the game, and that kind of leaves Silver Tempest just sitting out a little bit. It is a good set, and it's got the Lugia, which is going to stand as one of the money cards from the Sword and Shield block as a whole. But I do think that when we compare it to other sets, I don't think, for me personally, it is going to end up being the priority. That's what I think. I want to know what you think. I want to know which of these sets is your priority. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and basically whatever we feel like. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord and chat with us, generally have a lot of fun, and get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Andy White, who's been a supporter of ours for a little while now, and does seem to be a very lovely person. So thank you for all the support, and thank you for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.